Take a look around you. Every bill you pay, every tax you owe, every overpriced cure you buy, it's all part of a theft that you didn't know happened. We have been told that we are at the peak of human achievement. But what if we are actually living in the ruins of a superior world? History isn't written by the winners. It was rewritten to hide a global empire that once gave us everything for free. They called it Tartaria. And they didn't just defeat it, they erased it from your mind. The evidence is hiding in plain sight, and it's time to look past the lies. Imagine a world without power lines, yet filled with electric. Look at the old world architecture, the massive cathedrals, the star forts, the Capitol buildings with their grand domes and antennas. Modern engineers say they're decorative. The truth: they were power plants. They pulled energy from the ether. This wasn't a world built for profit, it was built for people. The air was clean, the water was pure, and the buildings were designed with sacred geometry to heal the human body, not drain it. This global network spanned every continent, unified by a technology we are now told is impossible. So where did it all go? History tells us of great fires and wars, but the buildings tell a different story. Why do almost all of 19th century buildings have windows buried halfway into the ground? There was a global catastrophe, a mud flood, or a coordinated strike using weapons we aren't supposed to have. Millions disappeared. In the aftermath, the reset began. They gathered the survivors and separated the children. This was known as the orphan train era. They were put into schools designed to break their spirits and rewrite their memories. They gave us new names, new religions, and new textbooks that started on page 1 of their story. The new rulers didn't build those magnificent structures. They inherited them. They moved into the palaces and called them government buildings. They took the free energy technology, classified it, and sold it back to you. Through meters. Every time you pay an electric bill, you're paying for something that was once free. Every time you buy a prescription, you're paying for a shadow of the healing tech that they suppressed. We aren't evolving. We are being farmed. We are living in a scavenged civilization, paying rent to the thieves that stole the house. Lengthwise, the building was more than double the size of the pyramid, stretching nearly 1,700 feet. While the pyramid was taller, the building's roof reached 212 feet, and that's a 20-story skyscraper made of steel and glass, built in an era of a horse and cart. But the most shocking stat is the volume. The pyramid is solid stone, but this building was an open hall. It had 3 times more internal space than the pyramid. Its central hall alone could seat 300,000 people. That was an entire city under one roof. Now let's look at the official maths. The Great Pyramid took 2.3 million stone blocks. But this building, it used 12 million pounds of steel and 17 million feet of lumber. History says it was built in less than 2 years. How do you transport 12 million pounds of steel and assemble it into the 3rd largest building in human history, using nothing but horses and manual labor? And more importantly, why would you do it just to tear it all down again less than a year later? If this building stood today, it would be the 3rd largest on the planet. Instead, it was sold for scrap. To the Tartaria researcher, this wasn't a fair, it was a quick sale. They were liquidating the last remnants of a high-tech civilization and told us these were just temporary buildings for a show. It doesn't make sense. The logistics don't add up. How did we build all this using primitive tools? We didn't build this. We inherited it and destroyed it. So, where did the old world go? History books tell us about great fires that leveled cities and great wars that changed borders. But if you stop reading the history books and start looking at the buildings, a different story emerges. Why do almost all 19th century buildings, from New York to Moscow to Sydney, have windows buried halfway into the ground. Mainstream history calls these basement windows. But look closer. They aren't just vents, they are full-size windows, designed for a ground floor that is now 10 feet underground. Think about it. Why would architects in the 1800s, who had to dig every hole by hand or with horses, waste thousands of expensive bricks and glass panels to build windows that you can't see out of? The theory is a global catastrophe that happened in the mid-1800s. A mud flood. It wasn't just water. It was a deluge of silt and earth that swallowed cities. When it calmed down and survivors emerged, they didn't build cities. They found parts of old ones, dug out the second floors, turned them into new front doors, and pretended the bottom floor never existed. But how do you keep a secret this big? You start with the children. In the aftermath of this disaster, millions of people were gone. This is the era of the orphan trains. Between 1854 and 1929, over 250,000 children were put onto trains in the east and shipped west. We're told they were street urchins, rescued from poverty. But look at the photos online. These children were well-dressed, healthy, and there was hundreds. Where were the parents? Some believe they were the leftovers of the old world, the children of Tartaria. The reset was a coordinated strike on human memory. These children were put into foundling homes and state schools. Their spirits were broken and their memories taken. They were given new names, new religions, and most importantly, new textbooks. These books started on page 1 of a story that the New World wrote. The children were told their ancestors were primitive cavemen and horse riders. While living in the shadows of stone masterpieces, they could never hope to build. The world wasn't built in 1800s, it was rebranded. To understand why Tartaria researchers say our history has been stolen, you have to look at one building. Not a cathedral, but a temporary exhibit hall from 1893. The Manufactures and Liberal Arts Building. To put its size in perspective, we have to compare it to the greatest wonder of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid. The Manufactures Building was a monster. Its footprint covered 31 acres. The Great Pyramid, only 13 acres. That means you could fit 5 Great Pyramids inside this one building's floor plan at the same time. We've been lied to all along. The Founding Fathers and the titans of industry didn't build these buildings. They were squatters who moved into empty, mud-stained palaces and put their own names on the door. They called them courthouses, post offices, and banks, just to give themselves an air of authority. They took away the wireless free energy of the Tartarian world, the spires, the domes, the atmospheric collectors, and they hid it. They classified the tech, tore down the towers, and replaced them with wires and meters. Now, think about your electric bill. Every time you pay for power, you're paying for something that used to be as free as the air you breathe. It's not just energy, it's everything, from the medicine we take to the food we eat. We are told we are evolving and at the peak of human history, but look around. We are essentially paying rent and taxes to a bunch of squatters and thieves. They stole the whole world, they moved into the houses, and they tell us that we're lucky to live in the basement. They want you tired, distracted, and in debt, so you never look up and see the anomalies. But the truth is leaking out. The maps are being found, and the architecture is being questioned. The first step to freedom isn't a revolution in the streets. It's a revolution in your mind. We are the descendants of a giant civilization, and it's time we stopped acting like subjects. Wake up, the world wasn't always like this. It was stolen, and it's time we took it back. Thank you for watching Patterned Reality. Don't forget to like and subscribe.